Hello again, you're still watching Joy News Prime and I'm back with more business news. In our special interview for the day, government has been warned against borrowing for consumption, which could create difficulties in raising the right revenues to service and also amortize these loans. According to former Finance Minister Seth Terkper, excessive borrowing could lead the country back to an IMF program which comes with harsh conditionality. He spoke exclusively to Joy Business.
If you come and mismanage because you have left the IMF for another government to come and take over the problems, and then you say, I exited the IMF, and you are bringing me back to the IMF, no. This time we have long enough period, unlike Single Spine, which we took over because it wasn't experimental. We have long enough period. And so the language is being toned down. The reality is setting in that you continue to have Article 4, which was considered. And the reporting, I think there's nothing different between Article 4 and a review and a program. That's why it is enhanced, right? That's the word. That's why it is enhanced. It is an enhanced, but the review will continue. The United States, the US, Germany, and others are subject to Article 4. And if they didn't handle things right, the IMF says so, and the markets will take the signal. Right.
Okay, Mr. Terkper, I mean, this brings me to, I mean, do you have that feeling that the current government may not be able to handle things very well? Because many have said, listen, election years are years where governments always overspend their budget. And already we are not generating enough. We've seen the revenue figures drop from the GRE side.
No, let me come out clean. I was accused, remember 10.3
yes.
and 10.9.
Yes.
Right, which I keep arguing that it was not part of arrears.
Now, what was it?
I told you that we were transitioning to semi-accrual.
Okay.
And that if you took the narrow definition of arrears, remember I made a presentation, you know, at La Beach Hotel, in which I had a graph and showed the effect of election year expenditure on the economy. I can give it to you, and you know, after the interview. And coincidentally, a lecturer from the University of Ghana who was on the panel had done virtually the same thing, the same analysis. So for us, it was enough warning that 2016, despite the fall in crude oil price, and remember, because we wanted to banish this, you know, election year expenditure, remember, let's not forget, 2015, we went to when the crude oil prices, you know, and when the crude oil prices fell,
yeah.
and we did a budget with $99 and found ourselves
around
selling
60
crude.
Something.
No, 60.
Around 40.
40.
Yeah,
yes.
40, yeah. You came to around 40.
Exactly. When we found ourselves selling crude at that price, we went to Parliament to trim the budget. And in the election year, 2016 election year, we went to Parliament again to trim the budget. And most people said, why go in an election year? And I think we should take all this into account. When the crude oil prices fell, we went to Parliament. You know, that statement is there. You can go to Parliament and verify. So we were mindful that Ghana needs to banish this. But the one thing which, you know, maybe with hindsight, you know, was to have, not to have brought on, which again would have been hypocritical. It would have been opportunistic. Because we were doing giftless. And you can go back to the one, you can go back two sources. You may want to take note. Go back to the program. First, the homegrown policy and the IMF program itself, the structural part, and you will see the shift to accrual accounting as part of those documents. You can go to the MEFP, you know, the Memorandum of Economic Policy, it is there. But the other document I want to point you to is you can go to the 2017 budget guidelines, which we issued. And the table with the Auditor General reproduced is there. So my question to the Auditor General at the time was, why didn't you state that this was part of the shift to accrual accounting? And their answer, which I don't find convincing, is that we were not supposed to be checking, you know. But I said, you all know that it was in the budget, that we had less arrears. So we're mindful of that, and I hope that we'll be mindful is a reality. It was nothing to do with that. It was a pipeline which we wanted to put onto the giftness, like sinking fund. For example, if we were mindful of 2016 as an election year, We wouldn't put money in the sinking fund. We'll spend it. But we were confident, but we were implementing deep structural programs. So we created a sinking fund and took off that liability. We could have been politically expedient, and said, okay, it's 2017, let it come and we'll take care of it. But we took off, and we had a balance of $200 million US, which was used to take off the balance on due date, October 4th. It was quiet. I wonder if you reported it. If you didn't, you can go back. It was taken up quietly. It won an award, and yet it was taken up like ESLA. So we went through all those because we didn't want that experience.
Interesting conversation with former Finance Minister Seth, and I guess the IMF, post-IMF debate continues. We'll be right here to bring you all the news and analysis on that. So the commodity market tonight, crude oil was selling at $67.98 a barrel. Cocoa, on the other hand, went for $2,243 a metric ton. Next to the commodity news. Having you on business news with me, Sandra Esenamapene. Do log on to our website, myjoyonline.com/business for all our business updates. Thanks so much for your time, and do have a great evening.